And we welcome you all in to another week's episode of Catching Up with Coach. And I am your solo host for the afternoon. I am Coach Trey. Welcome in. As a couple of you guys and gals get on up into the chat, looks like we've already got some pretty rowdy, looks like basketball fans in the chat. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to disappoint them. This is not a basketball show. And I assure you, if anything is to be with tradition, I really won't be too far behind him if we don't start picking things up in the college football realm. But nonetheless, we are live. We are here. We are ready to rock. We are ready to roll. We are kicking tires. We are lighting fires, and we are here for the long haul. A lot to get into this afternoon. A lot to get into as it relates to the game. What did we see? What did we not see? And what do we need to see looking forward as LSU takes on Texas A&M at home this weekend in a at-home primetime get-right spot for the home team. Fortunately, for the LSU fans in the room, there is not a lot of feel good right now. But if you stand 10 toes, stay poised in the pocket, read your progressions, unlike some people, I will give you maybe a couple of things as to why you might be excited for at least some of what's to come. So we will try to get to all of that. We will also get to a little bit of a I'm gonna try not to lose my full cool, but we are definitely going to get to a couple of different play breakdowns if the video allows us. We are actually quite literally like on not I wouldn't say a time crunch, and I apologize for being a few minutes late, but sometimes whenever we like ever since I've gotten onto this different computer, it seems as though there's always like a check, a double check, and a triple check, and then after the triple check, I like Hezi go live, and then I have to like make sure that we're doing our thing. But I think with all of the things that have gone wrong for the football team that represents LSU, the last thing you want to talk about is my laptop and how we're a couple minutes late to the stream. But nonetheless, we're building up the excitement. You know what I mean? And you guys are all here and ready. So what is it that happens in any job or any I don't really want to say any like relationship or friendship, because that's a little bit morbid, but let's just say a job. Okay, let's just say in any job that you underperform at, there are a couple of different ways that gets evaluated. Number one, and this is just from a 10,000 foot view, you either do A or you do B, and then C is usually something of the sort to make the excuse as to why A or B didn't happen and how you're going to make A or B happen in the future. Whether A or B is your positive or your negative, you pick and choose. There is not a lot of good that one can take from that game. You go on the road to Nashville in a game where you were predicted to lose, and when a lot of genuine, and I mean like when I say genuine, I mean like genuinely regular college football fans turn on LSU and Vanderbilt, you don't expect to see a dogfight in a one-score game in the fourth quarter. That is just not what people are used to seeing. It better not be what you get used to seeing. However, the caveat is, in the world of NIL, in a world where everyone has a little bit of money to go around, there are still some things that should never change. Okay? And humor me for a second if you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. It's our show. One thing that can't change is in any job, okay, your sincere desire to be the best at what you do is what makes competition. I'll give you a perfect example. I am in sales, okay? I am in no way likening this to being a football player. I have not been for quite some time. I assure you that these ligaments are not prepared for the games of football these days. I'm in sales. Every single day, you make a decision internally if you like sales and if you love sales, and I certainly do. If you make a decision each and every day to not suck at something, I'm going to go the extra mile in something. And it's something that, great people have told me before. There are no roadblocks along the extra mile. I tell so many of my coworkers this, so many of my peers this. I love that. That attitude is something that you either have or you do not. It is frankly difficult, not impossible, but difficult for you to just decide at some point in your adult life, even for many of these football players, their young adult lives. You do not get, and yes, they are adults because they're making more money than all of us, by the way. You do not get to show up half effort and just expect the job to get done because the fella next to you is going to get the job done and get his job done. You want to know why? Because if you feel that way, you act that way. And when you act that way, the fella next to you is going to act that way. And when you act that way, the fella next to him is going to. And then before too long, you have a cascade effect of an entire team that has zero discipline because there is no immediacy. You have a team and an environment in which you work in which everyone decides that we're just going to do it on the next play. We're going to do it on the next day. We're not going to do it this Tuesday. We're going to do that on Thursday. We're going to save that for Friday. Whatever. It's already the weekend. We'll save it for Monday. Monday's coming. Well, for those of us that do go to work each and every day and that frankly pay the money for the product, now that we're bringing this back home to a football team, when other people pay for your work to be on stage, then you get to be the beneficiary of whatever we wish to say. Granted, there are some people that do not know when to say the right things and when to shut the whole entire hell up and wait for the end result to say intelligent things. However, those people pay the money too. They pay the money to go and watch you at the stadium. They pay the money so that you can go and have your Lamborghini and your Mercedes and your Rolls and all the case. And by all means, I'm not bemoaning the NIL space and what today's college football is. It is what it is. We all signed up for it as the fans that love and get invested. However, what you are not going to do is victimize the people that have comments about what we're seeing. Now, if you remember last episode, I said, and I quote, "You are absurd if you think that there is a world in which Brian Kelly, win or lose this game, the next 5 games, or whatever, is not going to be your coach at LSU." It would literally take a catastrophic amount of events for that to happen. Why? Not because I think that he is the next coming of our Lord and Savior. Shout out to God. He's not that, clearly. But LSU fans are so quick to forget how much money it took to get away from the coordinator that you hated 2 years ago, much less the head coach now. So when I say that, it is not a statement to you as the fan that is unhappy with the product. So am I. So is Russo. So are you. You have every right to be. What I mean is you are kidding yourselves if you think that money just out of thin air. And GoFundMe's don't really raise 50 mil all that often. You feel me? Now, if you want to go ahead and get a gas company to foot the bill or slide it under and let them go and get a TV job, okay, by all means, let that be the case. But if you are the one that is constantly seeing anything that justifies your reason as to why this is going the way that it is, it's just going to be difficult for you to ever be a happy person because there is never going to be anything other than perfect for you to be happy to. And that is what we call, altogether now, Alabama fans. I know that's a cuss word to a lot of people, but just realize what we're talking about. However, when you show up to a game and you show up to go to work and we get to watch and we see bullcrap as the product, we get to be pissed off and upset. And I'm sorry that you have a Twitter account, but you also get to read it. Now, don't go overboard and don't be a jackwagon. Don't do that. And there's plenty of you that are doing that. Let's not do that. But if you are the type to genuinely and realistically come up with a solution, I welcome any solution that you might have, because what I'm seeing from two or three of these products that we're going to get to here in just a second, as soon as this rant's over, is not really a one thing fix, because you either have to have it or you do not. Period. This is not something that you just find in a bye week. This isn't something that you read in your Gmail and all of a sudden you're a new person. It's not a quote from that you could just get on TikTok and go and watch David Goggins videos till 1 a.m. and just decide to be a hard fella at heart, and I'm gonna put my hard hat on and go to work every day. No. You have to decide to do this on your own. We can't make you do it. We're already here waiting for the product. So if you're Brian Kelly, if you're Joe Sloan, if you're Cortez Hankton, if you're a football player, if you're an offensive player, defensive player, if you squirt Gatorade to the fellas, I don't care. You get to listen to this when that is the product that we see, because that product was undisciplined, lackluster, and frankly sad. It was sad. Now, nobody wants to win more than the players. No one. None of them want to lose. However, there are things in life that you have to decide whether or not you're going to do them or not, and see just how much it takes for you to succeed. Okay. And sometimes it takes us longer. I'm 29 years old. It has certainly taken me some time to figure a few things out and how hard I need to work to get certain things done. At 18, 19, and 20 years old, you have more money than you've ever had in your whole life. You're taking care of your family, and God bless you for doing that. But there has got to be some soul searching that's going on with these young men, and someone that cares about them needs to give them a very firm discussion of who it is that you wish to be. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a 4-5 loss embarrassment? Or do you maybe want to be a 2 or 3 loss team that decided to pick themselves up and go and play some real football? Because that was not LSU football. That was not. That was disappointing. It was very disappointing. There was no, at any point in that football game, can anyone that loved the team have been excited about the process, because you always felt like your back was against the wall. Well, newsflash, fans, that's how the players feel. And some of them are unfortunately letting it get the best of them. So we're going to get to that here in just a second. But I wanted to take up just about 10 minutes to just fully discuss what we expect from fans, what we expect from the players. You like when people pay for a product, you get to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like we are not out to get these people. Some people get on Twitter and get a little bit too crazy. And for some of you that have group text, you really need to just turn your phone off sometimes, because you just need to take an Anacin, a deep breath, and maybe say 2-3 active contritions and calm down, bro. Because like I don't know what else to tell you. It's the first third down of the game, and you're already deciding that you may as well just be a hockey fan. Okay, well then go be a hockey fan. For the Jesus, like it's a lot sometimes. Okay, it's a lot. However, you're justified if that's the product, and I can't argue with that, and I won't. You're not going to find me do it here tonight. But we are going to get into a couple of things that you might need to see going forward if you don't want that outcome to be the same again. So we've had a little rant to start the show. How about that? Now that I'm sweating, I need to turn the ceiling fan on, because Jesus the Nazarene, is it hot in here? Got a few flocked ups, a little Pell season in the chat. Showing up late to work, fair. Punctuality in this show is more disappointing than Brian Kelly. Almost as disappointing as me not being able to go live last night. We had a shout out to my mom, whose birthday was on Monday, by the way. We had dinner for the mom here last night. Lovely dinner. Shout out to mom. Happy birthday. Excited for a possible new coach in the near future, you mean? That is not what I mean. We've already discussed that. Thank you for not listening. You're going to get yelled at. I'm not going to yell at him because I don't really disagree with him. It's just a financial reality. Brian Kelly still sucks. Can't really say that. There was a lot of reason to disagree with that at this current juncture in time. Shout out to Bo. I will not divulge why, but shout out to my dog Bo. A lot of good stuff coming in the near future for him and the in the family. And in Todd Graves, we trust. And for those of you that are not LSU fans or local Louisianians, Todd Graves is a local Louisiana fellow with a whole lot of money and may need to foot a bill here soon if things go off the tracks. Did I cover it all? Did I miss anything? No. 2 8-ounce cups of community coffee, and I'm ready because I've got time tonight. I've got the sheer time. We've got receipts. We've got we've got receipts. We've got texts. We've got like little birdie whispers. We've got all that. We've got notes. We got all types of stuff. But we're gonna get rocking and rolling here. 16 minutes into the show. But before we do that, we want to get to just a quick break. A quick break to give our shout out to our friends over at Web Western, wearing their hat right now. Going to pull the other one into the shot for you. So these hats are actually really gas, y'all. This entire bill is a magnet. If you're a fisher, if you're like a golf player, if you like to have like the little ball markers, just stick it right there on the hat. This little protective shield on the inside is actually really good to keep away from the sweat. And this material is fire. And I'm pretty sure this hat is water repellent. Both of these, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Very comfortable, great, super excited to be a social media sponsor and affiliated with them. And they are an incredible company. Shout out to the owner, Dylan Webb, for a great product and for certainly being a great all-around fella. I wish Dylan Webb would send some money for LSU here soon. But as it relates to the process at hand, super excited to be partnered with them. Also, shout out to the to the good old Russo for giving us this platform to be able to be here. He will be live with us tomorrow night from the full episode of the Russo and Goodwin show, and we couldn't be more excited. We couldn't be more privileged for his help here, helping us get set up here tonight, and likely in the comments listening, if I know him well. But what I really wanted to get to first, now that we've come back from that, what I really wanted to get to first is what went wrong. Okay. What went wrong? From the moment the game started, there was never really a moment in which LSU should have felt like they had the game. There was never a moment in which you felt like you had them. There was a couple of stops. There was a couple of individual situations in which you were able to get key stops, but it was very few and far between, and it was nowhere near enough. You literally could not get off the field on third down. You could not. Diego Pavia, for all intents and purposes, had one of his better games that I've seen. They literally ran the football like 463 and 3/4 times. And you sorely missed Whit Weeks. You sorely missed Bernard Gooden. Gabe Relaford was obviously not there and is not going to be here for the rest of the season to set the edge. A very, very disappointing game for a couple of other fellows on the line right there. There was just no gap integrity. Harold Perkins, in my opinion, had one of his worst games as an LSU Tiger. It was a lot of, I'm going to go make the big play and get him in space. And it was a lot of, I wish that you would watch this. And he got yeeted around. Vanderbilt also had to make plays. There was footballs thrown behind people, low, on the ground, up high, down. I mean, all over the place. And people just had to make unbelievable catches, and you just have to tip your cap. It's not Mansour Delane and DJ Pickett's fault that you lost the game because you got beat between the tackles for the entirety of the game. You allowed Diego Pavia to scramble and make plays, which if you let that happen to a actual legitimate athlete this weekend in Texas A&M, and that's not to take anything away from Diego Pavia, but Marcel Reed is a much more talented runner than Diego Pavia, you're going to be in a world of crap if you're an LSU fan. So what do I mean? You had, and I wrote this down, you had zero gap assignment integrity. Zero. Absolutely none. It never existed. Never once did you have gap integrity. You, for all that, we talked about this defense to be, it seems as though when you do not have all of the pieces, it's as if you all of a sudden are starting to blow coverages. Like you're missing assignments. You got 3 people following others on on jet sweeps. Like why are you barreling in on an RPO when you know that you can get beat to the edge and you don't have anyone covering there because you've got man coverage on the back end and no one's there behind you? Why are you not getting out and setting the edge and pushing the ball back into the defensive line and where your linebackers are? I I'm just I'm so confused as to where and when you were taught to do any of those things. And that's not a entirely a Blake Baker thing. That is a you're not doing your job thing. No one taught you to play stupidly. That just didn't happen. It's just funny to me how for all of the good that you could do, for all of the things that you do well, the one thing that you couldn't allow them to do was get into third and manageable because they convert like the sun coming up. I swear, dude, it is like literally the sun coming up. The next thing that's going to happen for a certainty, death, taxes, the sun coming up, and Vanderbilt converting on third and manageable. It's like you could not get off the field on third down. And then on the other end of it, when you would have converting downs, and this is on the offensive side of the ball, you had too many mistakes. So you had zero gap integrity on defense, and you had too many mistakes, y'all. You have Caden Durham, who by all means, if you go back to the long Caden Durham run, go back and look at the left side of the line. Cohen Eccles, who did not have his partner in crime for the combo blocks, as Tyree Adams was hurt in like the first 9 plays of the game, or whatever the case may be. Him and Tyree Adams were really starting to move some folks the last game. And they were finally starting to figure out how to do it together. And then he gets hurt. And now you have DJ Chester at left tackle, who, God bless the kid, is not a left tackle. And go look at that play and look at Cohen Eccles do the first part of his job and then hesitate just a little bit. Caden Durham overcomes that, shakes loose, and then runs to daylight, who is still hurt, by the way, because he gets run down. You get to the goal line. Why? And I promised myself I wasn't going to cuss this episode, and I promised myself I wasn't going to get pissed off. When you get to the 3-yard line or the 2 or whatever it was, in what world, in Christian heaven or hell, is it ever in your job description to go, hey guys, let's rotate every skill position guy out right now? We're not going to hurry up. We're going to rotate everyone. Everyone? Yes, everyone right now. Okay, ready, break. Never. That is the most moronic thing I have ever seen in all of my entire life. That is 175% coaching. More specifically, Cortez Hankton coaching. You are in charge of rotating the receivers. You wished to get different receivers into that package. You don't need them. Run the ones that you have. You have them on their heels. The defense just had to run down. So what do you do instead? They had to run down the play. You get to the goal line. Everyone's excited and ready to rock. You get to the goal line. No one knows what we're doing because we've got different personnel and you can only run certain plays with certain personnel. And then you take a timeout and everyone's pissed. But then, so the only way to make it worse is if you come out of the timeout and run a stupid play, right? Right. You get out of the timeout, you actually run a beautiful play. Xavier Thomas, it is him, and I think the closest person to him was selling hot dogs. Like he was that far away in the end zone. And of course, your third tight end has a false start. Of course, someone had to false start. You do the play over. So you then run the Wildcat with Juwan Johnson. That doesn't go anywhere. And then you continue for the next 2 plays to not be able to run the ball in. I have a suggestion. Everyone calm down. I'm not really making anything up and I'm not reinventing the wheel, but stay with me. What if, okay? What if you take the ball under center and you get blockers in front of your running back? And then you maybe, and listen, this is, I know this is going to sound crazy, but maybe, just maybe, you use the play that you've actually run well at times and get people in position to move other folks, because football is actually about a game of will and leverage. Thoughts? This just in. Running from the shotgun gives people enough time on the defense to catch up to where the ball is going to go, shoot the gap, and tackle you. Why is this difficult? Why is this difficult? It shouldn't be. The answer is it shouldn't be, coach. It should not be. Yeah, I guess not. I guess not. But yet here we are. Here we are. I missed the toss and dive running all over the place. Bro, it's baffling to me how you can't conceptualize what it must be like to just be able to line up and have more desire than the other person and will your way to points. It's as if you get and I'm not kidding. If you're an LSU fan and if you don't score on out from outside the 20, and if the ball is stopped inside the 20, it's as if you just throw your hands up and say it's either going to be a turnover or a field goal, because we literally can't score in the red zone. And that is the one thing that Vanderbilt does the best. If anything, you could have just went and watched film on what they do in the red zone. So you didn't do that. And last but certainly not least, this offensive line is just not good enough. And I don't mean that the entire offensive line is bad, but the whole is also the sum of its parts. And I do think that there is a incredibly disingenuous thing happening to Carius Kern, because Carius Kern may not know every play. Carius Kern may not be the quickest person on the offensive line, but he's certainly the biggest. He's certainly the meanest, and he has absolutely got some of the most desire. Braylon Moore is fine. Cohen Eccles is shockingly doing better than what I gave him credit for, and Tyree Adams has been every bit serviceable enough to be in the game, and I think Josh Thompson could be in that same category. You cannot make me believe, and I know Weston Davis is trying, but brother, the hands are high. The hands are high and up top. They're not low. It's not like a short push. It's not a fight. It's as if he's fighting for his life, his hands, and for his feet on every play. And I know that he's trying, and I love that he's trying. But brother, you have to win football games now. Like now. Not a game ago, not 2 games ago. Like, forget what happened. You have to win games now, brother. And everything has to be on the table. Everything. If like whatever commitment you made to the kid playing so many games and getting his NIL money or whatever, I don't know what promises are made to these players. I just know that I watched 2 freshmen start, basically one from their first game ever and one basically from their first game ever, and never get moved out of those positions, and played here for 3 years, and we're all conference. That's all I know. So don't paint me surprised if Carius Kern can do it. I'm not telling you that it always happens that way, but sometimes when you just have the ability to learn on the run, then you can just learn on the run. I have to see Carius Kern play on Saturday. I have to, or I'm going to crash out. I have to. Then why go get him? Why go into the portal? Why go and recruit him then? Because the idea is that you are ready to play him when the playing time comes alive. If it's 5 or 6 or 7 games into the season or 2 years into the season, then by all means. But all of it needs to happen like today, like right now, today. And for those of you that are watching, please stay for just like 1 second, because I want to read you something. I know that some of you are not going to believe this stat when I say it. I know that you're not, like some of you, and we're starting to get more viewers right now, and that's great. For those of you that are watching live, thank you. But for those of you that are watching on delay, get ready for this stat. I'm not sure that you're ready, but get ready for it. Some of you had a very interesting viewpoint of what BK said as it relates to the last however many quarters, we're starting to trend more towards what we want to be. Listen, instead of taking it out of context, listen to what he's actually talking about as it pertains to the conversation and topic at hand, because he was talking about the running game. And for those of you that just want to roll your eyes, I get it. I'm pissed off too. I cover the freaking team and put together freaking notebooks to talk about for the show. Okay, so don't act like I'm defending it. Like, I put just as much effort into this as the next fella that tries to have a small podcast. I'm pissed off too. But for those of you that are still here, just give me the chance to give you a stat if you will humor me. In the last two games, LSU running the ball, 43 carries for 251 yards. I'm going to say that one more time. 43 carries for 251 yards, which is good for 5.8 per carry. Would you like me to break that down further? Caden Durham with 22, Jawan Johnson with 6, Harlem Berry for 15, for 5.86, 10.83, and 3.8 yards per carry. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that you figured out a way to run the football? Who can say? Because you're finding ways to break runs, and it's happened now several games in a row, so you can't remove it. Every team that has rushing stats in America breaks long runs. You can't take that away. That's part of it. That's the reason why you continue to run the football. That was the point that we were trying to get to in the Ole Miss game when you wouldn't stay with the run. What if you stay with the run in the Ole Miss game and you break a 43-yard gain and get down to the 3 and get down inside the 5-yard line instead of getting stalled on the other side of the 50 and have to punt the ball like 3 times? Like, do you know like how many more opportunities? Now, granted, you suck in the red zone, but you at least have more opportunities to score from there. So the point that I'm trying to make is you had players figure it out. Harlem Berry gave you blocking reps. Like, the best block of the season came from Harlem Berry, but he ruined it by talking shit to him when he had him on the ground. Like, you literally had the right thing done. You blocked him and put somebody on their ass, and you wasted time to talk crazy to him. Then was like, oh, wait, JK, I have to run my route. Then you relate to the route, and the play goes incomplete. It's the discipline for me. It's the desire to be better for me. It is the willful neglect of doing the smart thing at the right time. Why are you false starting in the red zone coming out of a timeout? Why are you talking crap after you get a good block? You're a freshman. You're the number 1 running back in the nation, and you have a chance to be on the road in a top 15 environment and help your team win the football game, and you're talking shit mid-play. Who does that? Sorry for the cussing, because I know that my uncle's listening. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's those mental mistakes that are not regular for me. I'm just not. I just can't. I don't have patience for that. We are watching this football team literally be undisciplined and just play me ball. At what point has Brian Kelly ever coached me ball? That's literally the antithesis of his message. I am also not absolving him of blame, but you can't just not blame a brand new, basically what it is, a new Sunday football model of what college football has become. It is about more me. It is about me before we, and it sucks sometimes. But it's the game that we love, and we have to adapt to it. So you have to coach them better. You have to spend more time. You don't get to just deviate and go, my offensive line coach is going to teach my kid how to have better hands. No, you have to go do it. You have to. And if you're not, let us find a coach that will. That's what LSU fans want. That's why they're pissed off. They're pissed off because they see things that shouldn't happen with this highly regarded of players. And it doesn't just happen once. It happens several times. That's why they're mad. They're also mad because they're not winning games. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, it's a culmination of things. And they're 1-score games. The SEC literally is setting records historically for 1-score wins right now. The margin of victory is literally single digits. Does anyone else know that? The most money-rich program in the country literally had to go to overtime with the worst team in the country. Shout out to the Cats. Go, my boy Kev. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is very difficult to defend that. In a good point, from Smallcraft, the lack of development in Weston Davis. Same thing from Sean. Davis isn't getting better week to week. He's consistently in the bottom 5 team. It's time for a new blood at right tackle. Guys, you're getting paid to be here. That's why people are so strongly pissed off about it, man. Like, that's the model. So excuse me if we're just a little bit over the top angry about the product that we're getting, because we now see how the sausage is getting made. And in some ways, it's just not cutting it, man. But it's desire. It is like, your back's against the wall, and every player on that team has heard everyone say that they suck all week. Now you're at home in prime time with they want to be a rival to you so bad, at your crib, in a dogfight environment, and your backs are literally against the wall. You have no more error. There is no tomorrow. It's now or never. Who is it going to be? Who are you going to be? What are we going to do? That is the way that you get to go for the rest of the season. Why? Because you couldn't manage to win winnable games against teams that you are more talented than in Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. And that's where you are, which gets us into our next point. We're 36 minutes into the show. I am literally sweating. Where do we stand? So where do you stand? We've talked about the mistakes. We've talked about the NIL. We've talked about desire. We've talked about the O-line. We've talked about running the ball. We've talked about offensive stats. We've talked about the red zone. So where do you stand? Where do you stand? The way I see it is you get to have a really important game at home, of which historically has been good to you. Vegas tends to agree. And then you get a bye week. And then you get Alabama, who is head and shoulders better than you in just about every metric that can be measured right now. You then have Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and Oklahoma. There is a real scenario in which this can get bad. There's also a real scenario in which this can be better than you think. But if you are just going to mail it in, if you're just going to mail it in, this is going to get ugly in Baton Rouge quick, because you will get turned on. The fans only have so much palate. There's only so much they'll take. It is an institution that is used to winning, and winning often, and winning a lot, with a few clunker years every now and then. But they're used to winning. Okay. Especially for the last 25 years. The SEC has literally no one dominant. I think Alabama's the best team right now. They barely beat Georgia. And I mean barely. Like, turnover in the last possession, like, barely. I also think, and I mean this, I also think that pretty sure I called Arkansas and A&M being close. It's always close. Petrino's coaching for his job. Anything in any body can happen. You've got Billy Napier no longer at Florida. You've got people staring down their nose at jobs and looking at their agents, wondering when it's going to be my turn. Am I going to be here next year? Like, you don't have any of that. You have an offensive staff that is in trouble. Whether or not, however the season ends, they are in trouble, and they know it. So it's time to drop them down and dial it up. No holds bar. Sling the pill like a shady pharmacist. You feel me? Sling it. Because you have to. You have to. That's where you're at. That is where you were at. Let your hair down and go. Couple of injury updates before we get into our keys to a dub. It seems as though Bernard Gooden, your best defensive tackle, and in my opinion, your best defensive lineman at this time, it seems as though he is ready to go. Whit Weeks is still not putting pressure on his foot. He's obviously not going to play. You're not putting pressure on your foot on a Wednesday. You're not playing. Sorry. And I'm not really that shocked about this one. Ashton Stamps is no longer with the team. DJ Pickett, for all intents, has been everything that we thought. Mansour Delane has been even better than we thought, and PJ Woodland has been absolutely better than we all thought. So you got three reasons why Ashton Stamps is wanting to be away. Brian Kelly made mention of that a little bit. Him and Jordan Gilbert wanting to maybe get some red shirts, protect themselves. It's just unfortunate because I really do think that this is a game that you really do need Whit Weeks, and there's been a lot of injury concern. However, he will have a decision to make at the end of the year pertaining to, does he want to go and be a mid-round, late-round draft pick, or do you want to come back, prove that you can be healthy and play a full season and maybe be a first or second-round draft pick? The big board is certainly suggesting that he should probably come back to school at this point. However, I really, really think if we're going to be honest with ourselves, I need to see an injury update on Caden Durham, man, because he doesn't look ready to roll, man. He just looks slow. And if that's the case, I need to see Harlem Berry. I need to see Caden Durham if he can give you 85, 80, 90%. Give me some Juwan Johnson if you have to. I got to see it, man. I got to see everything thrown at the wall, see what sticks. You are at that point. You no longer have the chance to be conservative. You have to be in the mindset of, I'm going to throw this thing and try everything. You absolutely must. So speaking about being in that mindset, what are the keys to a dub? Now that we're 41 minutes into the show, I want to get to these super quick so we can get you guys out of here before it's too late in the night. Number one for me is that you have to stop, or at least find a way to limit the RPOs. If there's one thing that I know, if I know that there's one thing that A&M does not do, and I would show my screen. As a matter of fact, I probably could, but I think it's going to slow the stream down if I do. The one thing that I will say is that the time of possession is pretty close, 32 minutes to 30 minutes. The penalty yards are actually pretty close, 67 to 60. First downs allowed is actually not as far apart as you might would think, 121 to 126. And then even something like weird, like net punting is almost like identical. There's a lot of identicals in this game, but the one that really stood out to me was you have to get Marcel Reed in a position to you can't let them get to third and manageable like you did Vanderbilt. You have to get them to like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. You just have to find a way. The RPOs have to be limited. You have to be disciplined in your run lanes, because if you're not, he is going to run all over you. He's going to run for 130 yards and absolutely decimate you for 4 quarters. So you have to find a way. You cannot let him just run loose. Make him throw the ball to Concepcion, who is phenomenal, by the way. Phenomenal. You also have to run the right runners. Whoever has the hot hand has to go. I'm sorry. If it's Caden Durham, it's Caden Durham. If it's Harlem, it's Harlem. I don't care. Whoever is the hot hand, you have to stay with them and stop getting so cute in these dumb packages. It's literally beneath you to do it. Okay? It's beneath you. Carius Kern, please. If I don't see Carius Kern at any point in this football game, I'm going to have to put like a NSFW on the next pod, because I am going to be apoplectic. I am literally going to lose my everlasting mind. Please give him a chance to show you that he can help you fix the problems that you were having on your line. I'm literally begging. I'm begging. Number 4, Aaron Anderson was completely. You went to Trey Green. Dear God, did you go to Trey Green? And you need to continue to do that, by the way. But he's been a key to victory every week this year. So please continue to go to Trey Green. But as it relates to Aaron Anderson, I have to see Aaron Anderson get involved. Aaron Anderson, for all intents and purposes, is going to be the reason why you can have the middle of the field open, because that's where he lives. You have to throw the ball to Aaron Anderson. I don't know. I just don't know how else to say it. In the D line, for A&M you have to find a way to get more. I'm fine if you go and get if you give some blocking assignments to someone else that's maybe not Bauer Sharp. Unfortunately, I think that he's been very disappointing as it relates to doing his job with run blocking and pass blocking. He misses too many things to me. He's a talented ball catcher. Like, he can catch the football and make people miss and do talented things in the open field. But I have Trey'Dez Green for that, and you're not doing what Mason Taylor was doing. So find me someone that's going to go and get out in the space and block somebody. Because Sean makes a point. A&M does have one of the highest sack numbers on defense, and Chester and Davis are going to have a rough night if they don't have help. The O-line has to stand up, man. They have to. You're a finesse football team that is playing soft. That is what you are. Your identity is a finesse football team that is playing soft. So if there's going to be anything different that comes from that, it's going to have to start right now, or it's never going to happen. If you don't have the desire to do it now, you're not going to have it. So I don't know what else to say. But that's where I'm standing. You got to stop the RPO, find a way to slow it down. Run the right runners, carry his Kern, please. Find Aaron Anderson, and the O-line has to stand up. You have to be in your run lanes on defense, and you have to have someone decide to be a captain, man. I know your captain's hurt, but you have to find somebody to stand up and say, it ends right here. It stops with me. Can you do it? We will see. Another shout out, another personal shout out, a big shout out to the Colorado fans. Stand up. Got a couple of listeners in the people streets from work, one of which is a massive Colorado fan, and funnily enough is actually a very, very big advocate for college football. So shout out to the Colorado faithful. You know who you are. You know exactly who you are. And thank you for listening to the show. We love you, and we certainly hope that you'll come back and listen to us weekly. The Thursday show is going to be where we actually cover the entire NCAA, the entire, ecology of college football as we see it. More so, this is kind of just like an LSU football show, and an SEC, and as it pertains to who they're playing and the outlook, so to speak. But that's kind of where we see it. I know I kind of freaked out a little bit there. But that's just how I'm feeling, man. I'm pissed off. I'm tired. Like, it's the same thing over and over. And if you're not going to do anything better about it, then you're not going to ever make the change. And we're just going to continue to watch the same thing over and over again. And people are never going to, they're never going to, like, LSU fans are never going to forgive you. They're never going to ease up on you. I've seen that stat. They did exceed their sack total from last year in 7 games. I did see that. It's just not, it's not like LSU fans to just be patient. Sorry. So what's it going to be? You guys decide. We certainly thank all of you for joining us this afternoon. Please, if you don't mind, if you've got a Google account, please give us a like and a share and a subscribe if you don't mind. Throw it around to anybody that likes the college football landscape, anyone that wants to listen, or maybe just watch me get sweaty and hot for 45 minutes on a Wednesday afternoon and talk about college football. But that's going to put a bow on our show for the night. Absolutely love and have so much love for everybody that keeps giving us the support, commenting into the show. It's incredibly humbling to see so many people like really give us some pretty honest feedback. And some of you have been, pretty gracious with your good words and sometimes your critical analysis. And we love that. It's only going to help us here going forward. But That's going to put a bow on us. Like I said, shout out to everyone that is here watching us live, and certainly a huge also shout out to the ones that are watching us on delay. We love you just the same. Talk to y'all soon. See you tomorrow night. Peace.